On a crisp December morning in 1910, Dorothy Arnold stepped out of her Upper East Side mansion into the bustling streets of Manhattan, dressed with elegance and intent. Hours later, she vanished without a trace. No body, no note, just silence. Over a century later, her disappearance remains one of America's most baffling mysteries. Dorothy Arnold was no ordinary young woman, a Bryn Mawr graduate and aspiring writer. She belonged to one of New York's wealthiest families. On December 12, 1910, she left home for a simple shopping trip and never returned. Her disappearance stunned a nation and sparked a century of speculation, suspicion, and unanswered questions. A gilded life. Who was Dorothy Arnold? Dorothy Harriet Camille Arnold was born on July 1, 1885, into the heart of New York's elite. Her father, Francis R. Arnold, was a successful importer and the head of F.R. Arnold & Co., and the family occupied a luxurious townhouse on East 79th Street in Manhattan. Dorothy, the second of 4 children, was cultured, educated, and refined. After graduating from Bryn Mawr College, she longed to become a published writer, an ambition viewed with mild amusement by her aristocratic family, who expected her to pursue marriage rather than manuscripts. Despite their condescension, Dorothy remained determined. She submitted short stories to literary magazines, including McClure's, but her work was repeatedly rejected. Undeterred, she rented a post office box to receive the rejection slips in secret, shielding herself from the judgment of her family. She expressed a desire to move to Greenwich Village, the bohemian hub of writers and artists, but her father refused to allow her to live alone. To the outside world, Dorothy was the portrait of privilege. Privately, she struggled to assert her identity and creative ambitions in a world governed by social propriety and paternal control. A simple errand, a sudden disappearance. On the morning of December 12, 1910, 25-year-old Dorothy, dressed in a blue tailored suit, donning a fashionable velvet hat, gloves, and a black fox muff. She told her mother she was going to buy an evening gown for her younger sister Marjorie's upcoming debutante party. It was just another day, or so it seemed. She left home shortly before noon, carrying around $30, equivalent to nearly $1,000 today. The vanishing point. Last known movements. Her movements that day were partially reconstructed through eyewitness accounts and store records. Dorothy first stopped at Park and Tilford, a gourmet grocery store on 5th Avenue and 59th Street, where she purchased a half-pound box of chocolates. From there, she walked south to Brentano's bookstore at 26th Street and 5th Avenue, where she bought a book titled Engaged Girl Sketches. A friend, Gladys King, happened to see her there. They chatted briefly, and Dorothy said she planned to walk home through Central Park before heading back for lunch. That was the last confirmed sighting of Dorothy Arnold. She was never seen again. A family's silence. Delay and secrecy. At first, her family assumed she had simply stayed with friends. When night fell and she failed to return, concern deepened. But rather than alert the police, Francis Arnold chose to investigate privately. The following day, the family contacted friends, hospitals, and eventually the Pinkerton Detective Agency, but kept the matter quiet. Days turned into weeks, and it wasn't until January, over a month after her disappearance, that her father finally contacted the New York Police Department. By then, critical time and evidence had been lost. The family's delay in reporting her missing sparked rumors and media frenzy. Why had they waited so long? Were they hiding something? The press speculated endlessly. Newspapers carried Dorothy's photograph and a physical description. 5 feet 4 inches tall, 140 pounds, dark hair, blue eyes. Theories proliferated, some plausible, others wild. Investigators searched hospitals, morgues, mental institutions, and even shipped manifests for evidence that Dorothy had been injured, killed, or fled. None bore fruit. Her name appeared nowhere on passenger lists or immigration logs. Despite extensive media coverage, no credible leads emerged. Curiously, in the weeks before her disappearance, Dorothy had burned several personal papers in the fireplace of her room. Some speculate she may have destroyed letters, manuscripts, or diary entries, perhaps writings that hinted at deeper troubles or a plan to escape. Her family dismissed the idea, insisting she had no reason to flee. But others weren't so sure. The nation watches. Public fascination and media frenzy. Dorothy Arnold's disappearance shocked the nation, becoming a media obsession filled with wild theories of elopement, murder, and scandal. Even Arthur Conan Doyle criticized the police. Her father, Francis Arnold, eventually declared his belief that Dorothy had been kidnapped and killed, though no arrest was ever made. Rumored sightings surfaced worldwide, but none were confirmed. Her devastated family gradually withdrew from public life. Dorothy was never officially declared dead by her loved ones, and no grave bears her name. Her mysterious vanishing became a haunting legend, and Heiress with everything, gone without a trace, leaving only questions behind. Timeless questions, vanishing answers. What haunts the modern reader isn't just the mystery of her vanishing, but the emotional undercurrents. Dorothy Arnold lived in a world where privilege could be both a blessing and a cage. Her struggle to define herself outside of her family's expectations speaks to timeless themes: autonomy, identity, and the consequences of secrecy. The trail she left behind: chocolates, a novel, a muff, feels both mundane and ghostly, a life paused in mid-sentence. Despite the massive efforts by law enforcement, private detectives, and journalists, the mystery of Dorothy Arnold's disappearance remains unsolved to this day. Her case continues to intrigue historians, inspire authors, and fuel true crime discussions, podcasts, and documentaries. Was she murdered? Did she escape? Was her fate covered up to protect reputations? More than 100 years later, the world still wants to know. Dorothy Arnold's fate remains buried in the shadows of a vanished era. Her disappearance left a wound on her family, a puzzle for the public, and a whisper of rebellion in an age of silence. Could her secret writings hold the truth? Or was she the architect of her own disappearance? What do you believe happened to Dorothy Arnold? Could the truth still be hidden in long-forgotten archives or lost letters?